Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the United States informed the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, that it will grant the organization with a contribution of $60 million for 2018, but will withhold $65 million from the U.S.'s annual $125 million pledge for future considerations. Syrian government forces have stepped up their offensive in the country's northwestern rebel-held province of Idlib, with reports of a massive number of airstrikes, providing Assad's army alongside Iranian-backed militias with a significant advantage that allows them to gather pace in the last 2 weeks. Turkey has deployed additional tanks on its border with Syria's Afrin region, the westernmost of 3 regions belonging to the Autonomous Democratic Federation of Northern Syria, which are under the predominant control of the Kurdish militias backed by the US-led coalition against the Islamic State. The United States informed the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, that it will grant the organization with a contribution of $60 million for 2018, aimed to sustain schools and health services. That said, Washington decided to withhold $65 million from the United States' annual $125 million pledge for future considerations. In a press briefing at the U.S. State Department, spokesperson Heather Nauert emphasized that contrary to speculations, the decision to withhold the $65 million is not aimed to punish the Palestinians, but seeks to bring about much-needed reform by UNRWA, which is subject to international criticism of the way it uses its funds, as well as an aspiration by the United States to share the burden of funding UNRWA, specifically by countries that criticize Washington for what they believe to be its position vis-à-vis the Palestinians.
One of the things that the United States would like to do is see some revisions made in how UNRWA operates. One of our bureaus, PRM, one of our bureaus here at the State Department, has a formal oversight role with UNRWA. We have people on the ground who take a look at some of the UNRWA activities and things they do, how the money is being spent. And one of the things this administration would like to do, just as we talk about UN reform, is take a look at UNRWA, trying to make sure that the money is best spent so that people can get the services, whether it's school or the healthcare services that they need. This is not aimed at punishing anyone. The United States government and the Trump administration believe that there should be more so-called burden sharing to go around. The United States has been in the past the largest single donor to UNRWA. We would like other countries, in fact, other countries that criticize the United States for what they believe to be our position vis-a-vis the Palestinians, other countries that have criticized us, to step forward and actually help with UNRWA to do more.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he was very concerned by Washington's decision to withhold financial aid to UNRWA, warning of dire consequences to Palestinian refugees across the Middle East, which receive vital humanitarian services from the World Body's organization.
If UNRWA will not be in a position to provide the vital services and the emergency forms of support that UNRWA has been providing, this will create a very, very serious problem, and we will do everything we can to avoid this situation to occur.
Meanwhile, the Palestinian leadership in Ramallah condemned Washington's decision to withhold the $65 million in financial aid, accusing the Trump administration of deleting the rights of the Palestinian people by adopting the Israeli narrative regarding the decades-old conflict, including on the matter of Jerusalem and the Palestinian demands that refugees outside of Israel would be granted a so-called right of return.
هذا هو الأمر الأساسي التي تتطلع إليه الإدارة الأمريكية. أولا فيما يسمى صفقة القرن، هي تأتي في سياق شطب الحقوق الفلسطينية. أعلن الرئيس ترامب عن القدس عاصمة الاحتلال، وهو لا يملك هذا الحق، وخارج إطار كل قرارات الشرعية الدولية والقانون الدولي في محاولة شطب القدس أن تكون عاصمة أبدية لدولة فلسطين، وستبقى هذه القدس هي العاصمة لدولة فلسطين. الأمر الثاني هو يحاول عن طريق قطع أموال المساعدات على الأونروا والضغوطات التي تجري في محاولة شطب حق العودة.
Israel has yet to officially respond to Washington's decision. That said, officials referred TV7 to a statement made by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week, in which he welcomed Trump's criticism of UNRWA, an organization that, according to the Israeli leader, perpetuates the Palestinian refugee problem rather than aims to fulfill its mandate, a reality Netanyahu asserted deems the agency obsolete.
אני מסכים לחלוטין עם הביקורת החריפה של הנשיא טראמפ על ארגון אונר"א. אונר"א הוא ארגון שמנציח את בעיית הפליטים הפלסטינים, והוא גם מנציח את הנרטיב של זכות השיבה כביכול במטרה לחסל את מדינת ישראל. ולכן אונר"א צריך לעבור מן העולם.
Now to the ongoing conflict in Israel's northern neighbor, where Syrian government forces have stepped up their offensive in the country's northwestern rebel-held province of Idlib, with reports of a massive number of airstrikes providing Assad's army, alongside Iranian-backed militias, with a significant advantage that allowed them to gather pace in the last 2 weeks. Idlib province is the largest territory in Syria, still held by Islamist militants and rebels that are fighting for their survival, with a population estimated at some 3 million, many of them Islamist militants and their families that have fled government advances in other parts of the war-torn country, including members of al-Qaeda-linked groups and the Islamic State. Nevertheless, Turkey, which borders Idlib province, voiced its anger of the Syrian advance, as it is concerned by a possible influx of new refugees attempting to flee the raging battles. Now to other news, Turkey has deployed additional tanks on its border with Syria's Afrin region, the westernmost of 3 regions belonging to the Autonomous Democratic Federation of Northern Syria, which are under the predominant control of the Kurdish militias operating in the area, including the most powerful YPG that is viewed by Turkey as a terrorist organization. After the US-led coalition said it was working with the mainly Kurdish YPG-led Syrian Democratic Forces to set up a new 30,000-strong border force, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan vowed to strangle what he termed the terrorist army, declaring the anticipated invasion of Afrin province along Turkish-backed rebels imminent.
Tabii olacak ya. Beraber. Onlar için veriliyor bu mücadele. Bizim için değil. Biz onları topraklarına sahip çıkmaları için bu kardeşlerimize